Tene ta tambo nato dele chogi yen la tene ti jiso sonde dojin chontung te dembe kapso tangaranzo jitang tangur tenzo tupa ta nyamnin sipi junsen te topa chepar jinjila chegru ge yorela topa chepar jinjila chewar sepa la tene zo tsawe lama tong jipe lama tong chela tepa tong mugu jini solwa tap na ta ti sinap chilam la tene topa chepar jinjewa impichir na tene ti kapsula dojin chungni zangte tene rang tsawe lama partu sembe jipe lama tong chela tepa tong mugu jini solwa tap na ruchi.
Good morning. And we will start with the Vajra Lineage prayer. And in general, the reason why we are studying here, why we're studying these songs of the view, is that we want to develop realization within our beings. And so in order to develop realization within our beings, the main thing that we need to do is we need to have faith and devotion in the root and the lineage lamas. And if we have that faith and devotion, then we'll be able to receive the blessings, and through that we will be able to develop the realization. And so as you recite this prayer, please have great faith and devotion in all of the lamas, from Vajradhara all the way down to your own root lineage, your own root lama. Dorje Janche
Deus
Tene tatanda Dzogchen Tangurke Chuntin Hiwala Tatangpo Jenamba Kanga Jerdo Tambe Chu la Depatan Ichi Tambe Chu Gola Hyo. Te nani Mixalto Tatari Kawachi ne Peparella Tene Tateya Jerdo Je Kali Momboja. Tene rang leka tenzo jo ni kawachi ni ta chu nyam slembe ki cheto pepa rela pepa te zom da yo mazi tene talo tene chitang kan zombulen la panjur nyongi chung jenge mekanga kangal chimbo yore de yina ya kangal tenzo chi de se ne tanda pe tindi chedu ta kono number tapa yeba yerche pare la tambi chula tepa to mugu tu nyamnen sende kono chepar to papa yeba yerche pare la tene te la yerche pare te yina ya ta tanda susuchi o senkinte kono te si zochu tana pe yapu yeba la tene ta kono sonchu chu to senki te tene tanda Jerdo Majurun Roa Nankin Tadon Yambe Senkin Tamji Sanji Je Kompon La Köpik Cherto Chertan Tankorwa Dungaji Jansole Dalwiki Cherto Naranso Tambichu Nyansalemba Tan Te Cherto La Tene Tambichu La Tusam Segi Yen Guma Kumon Number Tapa Saltabne Senaruchi.
In these teachings on the song, Mipham Rinpoche's song of the Dzogchen View, first of all, you all generally have developed faith and devotion in the Dharma, belief in the Dharma, and because of that you entered the gate of the Dharma and have begun practicing the Dharma. And so you also, in particular, have gone through a lot of effort to come here. You have a lot of things to do, but you have put them aside for the time being. You've gone to the effort and the difficulty of coming here in order to practice the Dharma, in order to study and practice the Dharma. And especially now, at a time when the economy of the world is down and there are economic difficulties, you all have ignored that, or you've disregarded that, and you have come here anyways. And so we can take it as a given that the basic motivation you have is pure and is good. We can take it as a given. The basic motivation is one of faith and devotion in the Dharma, a wish to practice the Dharma. But with ordinary individuals, it never hurts to try to sort of fix your motivation even more. And so, for that reason, please now develop the attitude of bodhicitta. Think to yourself that it is for the benefit of all sentient beings, all our former mothers who are as limitless as space. Think that you are doing this and to bring all of these sentient beings to the perfect state of Buddhahood and to free them all from the oceans of suffering in samsara. That is the reason why you are practicing the Dharma. Think to yourself that in order to practice the Dharma, to do that you need to study and contemplate the Dharma. And so please, with that sort of pure motivation, listen to these teachings.
Tene ta te jeso zopa chimbu tangur tela cherdo tangbo sen tempa ta chepra jepa ta zambar tam jawa som yore la tene ta te ya tangbo sen tempa rela sen tempa tela zopa chimbu tawe nyongur drahin je rolmo he jawa yoso som ta tanda chitang zopa chimbu tawa tempa zopa chimbu ke tawa te chitang ondu sena kandire sena tene te ngasam chi tawa gambi nyong ke tene ngote ba che re te yina ya te ya ne tang rabo kandire yapo che rindo ha ko gu ba yin bechirna tene tawa te to gu ba tawa te to pa te tawa te nyamsu nyong ta topa te la hakowa te la tene ta te tene ngorti hakowa la ta te la tene rang nyamnyong yin la pelwa tene yin la pen top ge cherto tene rang nyamnyong te ngordu sumba yin becherna nyamgur se tene drahin je romo se du tene chitang tsai nyembo ta tene tsai nyembo tsang ma yin pa ten nyembo uni pento jing ta tende yin bechena drahin nyembo ta rolmo senkin te kandi je la kogi yore se na chitang drahye pa tang jubo unde se na dran jubo unde se na ngaran so sinhi romo se ta lela dang ga pe drogu chenpo jing ji ta dunya de la tene 다들 롤모 세기 요아레 테파체 단주파레 이나야 다히페 온도세나 롤 세두 베 semba tibotan lupo devo tenite lo carla sopa tene deji no mambo ju capsula tene ngornte son tanda lo lenta tende seji imbetsna rolmo se yejawa yoso se takabnder semba tibotan ya semba tipo yung junsin de kandire sena tachitang khoruge nela tene tache kapkala song tang yomre kapkala song tang yomare te yinaya song tang na yanda song matana yanda tene kapkala tangala dungal nduk segi yor kapkala ngala dungal mandu dewa re segi yore ten khorwa khorang netang che ga na che sinking tige yeti korni de yapa hindu tela dungal ge nambanda boji yore ti dungal tele thar gu yore dungal tele thar na semba tipota devo yungre lu devo yungre semba tipo yungre dungal tele thar ge tab yore bisina dungal tele thar ge tab chitang onde sena che ga na chi ge kor de ba hindu tele thar ge tab de hiro yomare yo mare per nangaranso tache menkang dabo che ten nawale chap ke chet menkang ten tinde chege yore tini kapkala longro yapo jona thargre kapkala tini menkang ka ta rawamandu sene chege yore la tini tikapsala tharbe kap shiro yo mare la tharbe kap ngomate kaju yore sena topa chepar chinchi jela chena tako dungal tele tharne sembaya chipo lubo yung debo ta tende yung yore la dike chate kona tati tapti yapochi kona ngaranga anchu la kodu tela tati tap chipo chi duga sambe senla chipo chi yunga imbi cherna tene danyin chi romo sungi.
Now, in this Song of the View, if you open your booklets to page 13, you will be able to follow along more easily. Starting on page 13, we have the root text with an outline. So now for what Rinpoche actually said. In this Song of the View, it begins with three sections. They're first teaching the name, the homage, and the pledge to compose. And so the first of these is teaching the name. And so the name of this song is the experiential song of the Dzogchen View called the Music of the Lute, or you could say a music of sweet sounds. And so in general, when we talk about this, the this is teaching, it's in general teaching the view of Dzogchen. And so what is the root of the Dzogchen view? The root of the Dzogchen view is direct perception. It is the experience of meditation, recognizing the experience of meditation. And so in order to develop that, what we need is we need to know what it's like. We need to understand how it is. And so we need to realize what this view is, and then we need to develop the experience of it. And so in order to realize it, we need to understand it. And then when we understand it, that's why we have this song. So Mipham Rinpoche himself experienced this, experienced the meaning, and not only did he experience it for himself, he wanted to spread it among others to help them. And so he shared his experience this way in the song. So it is an experiential song of the view. And so then here the title, and it's the experiential song of the Dzogchen View called The Music of the Lute, or you could say the music of sweet sounds. And so when we say the music of sweet sounds, the Tibetan words can mean either. And so here Rinpoche commented as meaning the meaning of sweet sounds. When we talk about it as being sweet sounds, they're things that sound pleasing and lovely to hear. But not only is it that it's pleasing and lovely to hear, but it's also that the meaning is good. And because the meaning is good, it's something that you can hear well. And then it's called the music of it. And the Tibetan word for music is the word for rolmo. I don't know if you've ever gone to a puja, but in pujas we have two types of cymbals, those with little tiny knobs, and those with the big fat knobs that make a big racket. And so those are called romo, which is the Tibetan word that's used here. And so these songs, if you talk about the literal meaning of the word, that's what it means. But if you think about what it means figuratively, then it's music. It's like singing songs. You're feeling happy about something. So it's like enjoying it and playing it. So that is your mind is happy, your body is comfortable, you feel at ease in your body, and so out of that comes this song. So it's like this music that comes out of this. So the meaning of music is like this song that arises from it. And so the mind is really happy. But what is the reason that we're so happy in our minds? Well, in general, we need to free ourselves from the ocean of samsara, from all the suffering of samsara. Sometimes we think about this, sometimes we don't think about this. But whether we're thinking about it or whether we're not thinking about it, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we aren't happy, sometimes we're suffering, sometimes we don't have any pain and we feel fine. But whatever our situation is in samsara, there's always the experience of birth, aging, sickness, and death. And so these all really take the aspect of suffering. So we need a way to free ourselves from these. And if we can free ourselves from them, then we have the real comfort in our mind, real ease and comfort in our bodies. And so is there a way that we can actually free ourselves from this suffering? Yes, there is a way. We have an opportunity to free ourselves. Now, normally we don't actually have much of a chance to free ourselves from birth, aging, sickness, and death. Sometimes when we get sick, for example, we might go to the hospital, and then when you go to the hospital, sometimes they can give you medicine and it works and you get fine. Sometimes they give you medicine and then the doctor comes and says, oh boy, he's a goner. And so there's no hope for him, no opportunity for freedom there. But do we have an opportunity? We do have the opportunity. The opportunity is that if we realize the meaning of this, then we can free ourselves from the suffering, and that will bring us comfort and happiness in our mind and in our bodies as well. And so if we understand this, we can think, if we understand and realize this, we can think, oh, how wonderful, this is great, and it's so beautiful and lovely, and so that's why it's the music of sweet sounds.
Semni chukuru montre lama carding committee new UK seta conre. That's our de kong lama la solvata pare. Lama de ta solvata per capsula, lama de hingu us yo se. Then hingu us chitang you at your revision, you at your mare. Kulugo on the Siena. You at your mare, the hingu us yutan the candidacy google. Rang sama takwa train google. tendu tela lama tengu bi junsen te kandi chirisen narang teni jitin koru dungal le torsi ke tap lana mepati ta tende ji tembare la te temba te lama tigi tembe dangwa te la teni nga nekap dungal le tol nekap inayandra tartu inayandra nekap dungal le tol matupa nekap nyolni te tsam matup naya dangwa te topni dangwa ga pacha te rang sen che ya cha du maung pala rimbi kompel tundro ni ta te tene korwa dunga ji jansol le tolwe ge kokap ndabo che chungwa yin be cherna lami ge tene lama te trengu be junsen te kandire sen nyenge usu yup senkin te tene lama te trengu yo trengu be junsen te kandire sen lama dangwa te trengu yo dangwa te tren na karib hengre se na dangwa te nyons lento gre dangwa te nyons lento na ngaran dunga le tol ge yo re la junsin teacher na semni chukuru ngontre lama kading khormenti new yo he se ta te kong ta solwata pare solwata na solwata pe ge junsin te kandire se na tinde sine solwata ge yo re la tini te ya tanda zo tene tatila solwata pare tat tenchu gi chitang koremi yendul tembare rete yinaya tenda kapswa tel kare yore sena tangara chu tujon do nyamlin na kapsula tene te chitang hinne tong lantong tingen zain tong chaja chembo tong zoba chembo gambe kapsula tene tat 팅상가 kapsula lama cheparchi mambo pene topa gila chi kahi nyamnyo chi kahi nyamnyo ngus chi mato nayo nyamnyo chi juga rewa yapa o ngune rewa dau samba dabo ta tinde chunga ka kaptna la tini te chi te tsam kompel to mando wa dabo yungi yo are la te yunga ki junsin te kandire se na tini lama dangwa te yansi tena tel tene pembar jurwa la tini teacher na ngaranso nyamling ngugi go on se na tini lama nanjur la chen tini te lama junta tembe ke tap te ta tini nangu yo re.
The next section is the homage, and so the homage reads, Lama who with unbounded kindness points out my mind essence as the Dharmakaya, stay in the center of my heart. And so here the main thing is that he's praying to his Lama, and he's saying, stay in the center of my heart. So what does it mean to stay in the center of in the heart? Because if you look at it in terms of the bodies, there's no way the Lama could stay in the center of the heart. That just doesn't work out. So how is it that the Lama can stay in the center of the heart? Well, this is to always remember the Lama, to always keep the Lama, remember the Lama in our minds. So what is the reason for remembering in the Lama in our minds? Well, so we need to free ourselves from the ocean of suffering in this world. And so the best way to free ourselves is the Lama teaches us the best way to free ourselves from that ocean of suffering. And so the Lama gives us instructions, and if we practice those instructions, then we can free ourselves from the suffering in the short term and also ultimately. Now, we have both the short term and the ultimate. And sometimes in the short term, we may not be able to free ourselves necessarily right away. But through hearing the instructions and keeping them in mind, we create an imprint within ourselves. And then that imprint gradually in the future will grow stronger. It'll awaken and grow stronger and stronger. And then we will have the opportunity to free ourselves from the ocean of suffering of samsara. And so that is why we need to remember the Lama. And so when we say, stay in the center of my heart, that means that we need to remember the Lama. And remembering the Lama means that we need to remember the Lama's instructions. And so when we need, how does it help us to remember the Lama's instructions? Well, it's that we need to practice. We need to practice. And if we are able to practice, then we can free ourselves from suffering. So Lama who with unbounded kindness points out my mind essence, as the Dharmakaya, stay in the center of my heart. And so we need to pray and supplicate to the Lama. And so that is the reason why we need to supplicate to the Lama. And so when we pray to the Lama, then we do this so that we can gradually, eventually come to understand this and understand the meaning, to realize the meaning. And so here there is something that is implied within this. And this is that we usually practice. And when we practice, we do shamatha meditation, we do insight meditation, we do mahamudra, we do dzogchen. And when we do these, we have the great opportunity to meet a lot of wonderful lamas. And because of this, many of us, we develop realization, or we have some sort of experience. Or even if we don't have a real experience, we get the hope that we can have this experience. But then when that happens, often we find that we're unable to really develop that and increase this. And so what is it that we need to do then? We need to remember the instructions of the Lama, and if we remember the Lama's instructions, that will help us. And so that is why this is taught. We need to practice, and when we do our normal practice, the way we do this is we practice Guru Yoga, and through doing Guru Yoga, it is a way to help us continually remember the Lama.
Tene ta tejendo tsikoni jimani botela tene tanda zomber tamjawa sungi warela zomber tamjawa te sung kapsula risang chuni je nesul somni ngonsar gawe tsiksumre nao se tsiksumre nao sungwarela jitang ta zomber tamjawa te kandire sena tene tanda ngaranso 다 동화 공원에서나 담비 켄치 몽보 메자티 갈테카웨 켄롱저나 돌라 리모트 바체긴도 힌힌든 줄 마이노스 당보니 나랑서 티라 담자주요 말에 담자주요 말에라 제 담제나 티 따따 돌라 리모트 바나긴지 그래 미르와 메바지 그래 티 그피 준생 칸디데스나 동보 담제 데 야보 마지 바체 데 드마도 바체 파요 양사바제 담제나 틴 강싱에 바쳐고요 강싱에 바쳐나 대야요 틴 숨바제 담자 대야요 틴 단단 타르슴 바제 야메 바쳐고요 알라 틴 은에게 랑단 있나연다 연단 있나연다 코랑가 응은다 제기 예인시니 담제 바티 따따 땡땡 제고고요 알라 tini teacher na ta tanda tenchu zombe kapsula nirang tenchu de yendan pembe chi do ina yanda rang nyomlin pembe chi do ina yanda da zongi yin sinking ke tamcha ge yore la ti tamcha ba ti tini drup gupi ki chetula tini konombe ga ta tenchu zombe tamcha ba ti nang ge yore la ti nang gupi junsen te yon loma chola ta tangbo chugo le hyukni tini tati domi ge tamcha yapo je gogre tini te tela chu je gola hyupa tang chu nyomling chepa tang tingen zen gomba tati ge kandi ina ngondro gomba nyomling ui je gomba kandi ina ya rangi nda che somba te yapo je drupto na tini gomba tangbo te yapo je po nimba te yapo je po sumba te yapo je po yeba te yapo je po tini rimba yendal lepsatana yapo je lewgi yore 마도 테니 제이 체카 살로 출로 테니 텐데시나 테니 나랑가 칼리 잡게 텐다다 보시라 용기요 마레라 테니 준신 티처나 콘 넘버게 탐자게 요레라 테니 나란소요 데이터도 센지데네 토지네 다디 드레부지 야보지 마도가 바르돌랑이 유기메 좀 탐자 템보제 구레시네 랍자 나오게 쳇돌라야 다 데이터 좀 탐자와 나오인사리
The next two lines are the pledge to compose, and they read, thinking of the secret awareness, the way the Dharma nature is, I will say a couple words of amazement and delight. And so generally it's a pledge to compose. And so why is it that they're making this pledge to compose? Well, this is something that is taught about in some instructions where there's a quote that goes along the lines of, before you do something, think well of what you are going to do. And then when you have decided to do it and make a pledge to it, it is as if that pledge is written in stone. And so at first, you think about things well. You don't make your commitment to do something right away. You first have to do it. Because once you make a commitment to do something, it's like it's been carved into stone. And so if you first make the pledge to do something and you don't accomplish it and then give it up and do something new, then you're creating a bad habit. And when you get that bad habit, then if you're doing something new, and then you give that up too. And then you start a third thing, and you give that up too. And you don't end up getting to any result. You don't end up getting anywhere at all. This doesn't do anything to benefit you yourself. This doesn't do anything to benefit anyone else. And so when you say, I'm going to do something, then you make this pledge that you're going to do it. Then you have to do it. And so here he's making the pledge. I'm going to compose this treatise. I'm going to compose a song. I'm going to write it, and I'm doing this in order to help other people. And so this is going to help other people and help them in their practice. And that is why I'm going to practice a song. I'm going to complete it. And so this is why we have the pledge to compose at the beginning of many songs and many treatises. And so the reason why there's often this pledge, it's sort of implicit reason here, is that when we're Dharma students, we first enter the gate of the Dharma and we start to practice, and then we need to have a commitment to practice, and we need to make this commitment when we've entered it, and then we're going to practice, and we're going to do samadhi meditation, whether we are doing the preliminary practices or whether we're doing one of the main practices. We have to think, I'm going to do this, and then when you do this, then you accomplish it, you do it. And you do that, that's one step. Then you take the next step, you take the third step, you take the fourth step, and then gradually by taking each step one after another, you come to the place where you want to go. On the other hand, if you were to go halfway and turn back and say, I don't want to do that, and go home, then you've done all this, gone through all this efforts for nothing. And there's no point to that. So that is why they make the commitments. The lamas, when they write these pledges to compose, they're making the pledge. And this is to show us that we should do the same thing. We also really need to decide in our minds what we want to do. And then until such time as we attain the result, we will not give up. So this is the advice that is given in this.
Tene tateya tanda ngonsar gawe tsik sumri nao si ngonsar ne tachitang ngaranzo jiting no anda mambo dedu gsorwa mambo nyonge yorela tatina ne tene tanda nguni longa yapu ti salbu ti tene ti tujon de nya mepa ti tene tatanda zopa chimpu gam chaja chimpu gam na tene lamyang tapate la ngune lepate tene ngarangi yang zendru ge majung de zam gi drup matub na ya ta lamga cheka zam de la drup tu na ya de zam ge pento da chi bu yung yo de zam gi matub na ya tene tatanda tene jashache zam jashani zam ji drup tu na ya tene de la ngune ge tartu kunde bu pemba chimbu yung yo arela de zam de yung mazi tatanda sanji jam din de jin do in non to song na tene Khenpo Rinpoche number some la depata ichi chepara chinji chi ni lakpa nya ta ichi de zam ma chi wa chi tene lapa ichi chepara chinji chi na lapa niki thalmo jar tene lapa niki thalmo jar mathum na ya lapa ya chi ki thalmo jar phashi yapo imbada son lapa ye khaya te lapa chei thalmo jar na tela sonam yorbe si sanji ke tuanda bonane tene tuanda ne tilen tela tia tene tharbe sabe jilla yone pe guba chimbo pe chimbo ta tel pento chimbo tene lapa ya chi tam tupa te pe mesi pe kalba zangbo tam tembare ta tindi song yore la ta te ta buge tene ta tanda ngaranzo tharba tam tamchin chimbe kompong to buge kwakap zangbo che yepe ngonsar te tong undi te la tene kong pe kong ki tanda la yin na ya pe ngarang langwa ya po chi ni song gong che ta yin la pen ta pa ka sa la ta yin la pen ta nguni ta tu gu duga gong ge tu la twa chimbo chi chi ne tene tsai som cha ngor je sung ge yin tsai som sing kin te ta tsai nyu nyu ji sung ge yin sung a zang re ta tende sang de ri ta le wa re
And so he says, I will say a couple words of amazement and delight. So words of amazement, so it's amazing. So there are all these appearances of the world, the appearances, many appearances of pain and pleasures, and among all of these, there's a good path. And we don't usually find this path, but we've come to the place where to the path of Mahamudra and Dzogchen, the opportunity of through the opportunity of Mahamudra and Dzogchen, we've come to the good path. And so if we aren't diligent about it and we don't accomplish much about it, even if we can't be that diligent and don't accomplish much, but we only go halfway along the path, then we still get halfway. We still get all that benefit from it. But even if we cannot do that much, if we can only do 1%, or 2% of the path, we still get a lot of benefit from this. In terms of the ultimate result, this is extremely beneficial. This is something the Buddha talked about in a sutra. Someone asked him, if you have real faith in the three precious jewels, you join both your hands at your heart in prayer and you feel faith and devotion. But sometimes you're not quite sure and you sort of, maybe they're pretty good. And so you just sort of raise one hand as a gesture of faith. And so the students asked the Buddha, does that have any benefit at all? And the Buddha's answer was, oh yes, of course it does. That itself is the seed of liberation. It's great benefit. Just even bringing one hand up to your heart like that is an incredibly great fortune. And so that's what the Buddha said. And so here we have this wonderful, amazing opportunity to attain a liberation, the liberation and omniscience. And this is amazing. And so here, he's seen this meaning and he's saying, I found this good path. And in order to help others, I'm going to sing about this song of actually the real delight of feeling. So a couple words of amazement and delight. So he's saying a couple words here. And when he says a couple words, then what this really means is he's saying a song that's just not too long. And so as the commentary explains, a couple words here means just a few.
Tene tate jiso tate tige tanda tomargewa Chepra tate sonre la tene te jiso ta dangwa ngus tempe kapsula ta tangbo semji kombu hipa mengo songyore la tene te la rihi norbo te yiring torwe semden ulponge chihi tarte ranjung lenchi chi chuku rongyal njalma nyongwa te njalaki nango se tene rihi norbo te yiring torwa ta ngaransola kari yore se na chitang ta sanji jamden de chi tombi chu chepar papa mambo song yore tombi chu chepar papa mambo song yepe ke zawate ta ngaranso tene ta chei ngaranso kari yung yore se na lula kapkala lula dunghan jung yore kapkala senla yi medewa tong dunghalwa jung yore ta tele tarbe ke tap mangbo je jegi yore di yinaya jitin ke chawi ke go ne nekap tarna yin rimboji targe yo mare la tini te tarbe ke tap tela kari re se na jitang ke senla dunghal shona yanda lula dunghal nasan la soba shona yanda te tanda kunzup chunhong re chunhong ten chunhong yinba la hi ne dombo tuisong ke hi bi hako tini te gombe nyong ke ten la patne tini te nyong si nyong na chutam ji toni to to na ta sanji jam den de ji dombe chu jung ko lo ko kapsel chutam ji toni to to ke ta song yo chutam ji toni to to ba de te si ja che on de tel song ho do ji ti ba tmo ma yin be on de sena chutam ji toni to to ke tsabla ngarang ke sen ji ngo la te na sem ti ke ngo de rang yin ji tomba re la tomba yinba ti ne tang de ha ko tomba yin na ya tomba che ya me pa nda bo che la bem tong che la ndog re se na ndog mare Kanga Salwa, Yenting Charto Room, Sanji Yenting Tonjin Charto Room, Tiniti Nango and about the Kana Yoris and Naransu Sanjitan to Yor. The Thor Rimbo Hill, Yoris in the Thor Rimbo Hill, Yomare, Thor Nievo, Naranga Sanjitan to Yorela, Tini Rishiji Norbusi, Tating Muni Nobunda about the Kana Yoris and Naransu Yore, Yore Yinaya, Naransu T. Yapahamago. The last one, that the last one, Nobuji, Nobuti, Uni, Corvid Dungali, Trolzi, Sanji, Yentin, Tobzi, Tikanayor, Naransu Gum Diapote, Najagundo, till Gum Jab Tugumandusana, Gum Jab Tuzi, Nuba the Kanayores in Narang, Sanjitan to Yore. Yore, the Ina Tamboni, Sanjitan to Song Hidra Matane, last one, la. Tiniti last one. Tini kandi chong yuwaari sena, semting ulfongi tiki tartisi, tini ngara perna meche la nobu yapu che yuwa na, tini ti nobu ti laso na, tini ulfo chagayo, pango chagayo, ta ti nobu ti nyi na chupo chagayo. Semting ulfongi tiki tarti, ta ngara pe jobo dubo ndabo, ta sente, jobo dubo si guya yuwaari besini yuwa mari, nobu ti ngarang la yuwaari. La nobuti ngarang la yuwaari di ina ti haa mago wache, ngarang ka nobuti ngarang la yeba ti haa mago wache, tini pechi tang mato bache, tini ti loss wanda wache.
And so that was the first section, the virtue of the beginning, the homage, and so forth. And then following this, there come the actual instructions. And the actual instructions have the preliminaries, which are gaining certainty in the instructions that destroy the little house of the mind. So then on the top of page 14, under the brief overview, there's the first verse. I have lost the jewel of awareness a long, long time ago. What am I who am impoverished but have a mind to do? Never have I seen the very face of the self-arisen innate Dharmakaya that I am on the verge of seeing. And so here this is teaching us we have lost this jewel of awareness. And so the Buddha taught many different types of Dharma. And in the Dharma, sometimes what the Buddha taught is that we often have pain and suffering in our bodies. We have discomfort and unease and unhappiness and pain in our minds. And so we need to free ourselves from this pain and this suffering. And so we can use some worldly activities to sort of temporarily remove the pain and temporarily free ourselves, but they can only free ourselves for the short time. We have all these different sufferings that happen in our mind. We have all these different pains and illnesses that happen in our body. But all of these are just the confused appearances of relative truth. And so if we come to know that they're just that, then we can, if we start to think about that, then we can study this. And then through studying this, we can begin to experience it in meditation. And then we can come to realize that all phenomena are emptiness. And so when we say all phenomena are emptiness, this is a really vast, extensive thing. And so it's kind of big. And in the secret mantra Vajrayana, we sort of, as a substitute for that, instead of looking at the emptiness of all things, we just look at the essence of the mind. And we see that the mind itself is naturally empty. And then we can realize what it is like. We can realize the way it is. And so how is it? How is it that we can do this? Well, also, we all have the ability to develop the qualities of the Buddha. We all have the clarity of the mind, the awareness. We all have the seeds of the Buddha's wisdom. And where is that? It is present within our minds. But it's not something that is far from us. It is actually very close to us. It is within our very minds. And so this is the jewel of awareness. And it's something that we actually have. But we just don't know that we have it. It's like we've lost this jewel. And because we've lost this jewel, then so we've lost this jewel. So we want to free ourselves from the suffering of samsara. We want to develop all of the qualities of the Buddha. And so where is it that we can get these from? We get these from this jewel of awareness. We get it from meditating. But sometimes we think to ourselves, oh, I can't meditate. I can't possibly do that. But we have the power to do it. We have the ability to do it, and that is present in our own minds. But we just don't think we have that. And so that is how we have lost this jewel of awareness. And so, what am I who am impoverished but have a mind to do? And so, if someone had a jewel but then lost the jewel, then they're impoverished. They feel like, oh, I can't do anything. But once they regain the jewel and they find it again, then they are rich. And so, in the same way, we think to ourselves, oh, I'm really having a hard time. I'm bad off. I'm a poor guy. But it's not necessary to think in that way. Actually, we ourselves have this jewel. It's present within ourselves. We just don't know it. So if we realize that we have this jewel that we actually do have, then we can actually use it. But we haven't realized that, and so we aren't using it, and that is how it has been lost.
Tene tati nobudi tanda lo shor yoreti yinaya tene nobudi kandi yorese na rangjung lenchi ji chuku rongyal se tene nobudi kana yorese na sujung zuya mare rangjing ngaransola lenchi ji pasi tu ngaranso nyomdo nobudi yorela Norbute yodu tela tanda ngaransu lo shore di ina yoji de ngaranta nyamdo yore ti yopate tini suja zoma gu parangi ngaransu nyamdo yore chuku rongyal tini te ta tambi chuju onda chena tartu kundebu nguni te tere la tenha tini ngaransu ten thong nyungu yore be njal nyungu yore be chena njal nyungu yo mare te yinna yang tini ta hebdo lame ge mengo ta tini tsaw lama to jip lama ge mengo ta tabla tini ta ngarang ge nengo de ji ta undi a palcher tong tu tupsare danando sambaje jalaki no si te ngarang chu ta chu chu ndabo hi chu chu ndabo yore la tini te pe kalwa sang bu hiwore.
So now we've lost this jewel of awareness. We've lost it, but where actually is it? Well, never have I seen the very face of the self-arisen innate Dharmakaya that I am on the verge of seeing. So this very face of the self-arisen innate Dharmakaya, it's something that we have ourselves. It's the self-arisen, the naturally present innate Dharmakaya. It's innate, so it's always with us. But we haven't looked at it, so we haven't we have never before seen it, so we've lost it. But it is actually present with us all the time. We just haven't looked and we haven't realized that it is there. So this is the jewel. This is the self-arisen innate Dharmakaya. And the innate Dharmakaya, that is the ultimate result of our Dharma practice. And so have we ever seen this before? We have not ever seen it, but because of the Lama's instructions, because of the instructions of the root and the lineage lamas, and because of all the different methods, now it's like we are on the verge of seeing it. It's like I now have a hope. I think I can see it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna see it. We're on the verge of seeing it. It's like it's right there, ready for us to see it. It's right there, ready for us to experience it. And this is really extremely fortunate.
Tene ta thong chu chu rabo yore la tin thong ge thap la karit nang gu ge yore se na gongshar tekche ji herab ralde tekar thorzung ge sang la tape den je nguzung dalsang ngo jong je de ein nyomo se gongshar tekche ji herab ralde singite tangaran so ge tanda the rang la yep nobu the tobia de la carisi gugresena narang hirap de yapo zogugio hirap de la hirap la number ni yorel hira la number ni yeba de jiba hirar ngansong hirar jiba hirap la tene taperna umetenju la soba tenzo la Tana, Chutangi, Tony Re, Tony Gango, the Tomba Tonjon Mare, Tene, Tatanda, Sanje, Tat Sarcha, the Oriki Binimbo Yore, Bernatin Chimbo Jilamaganani Sona, Della Sarja Chiumi, Yapar Chawa Chunzimi, Yonda Nila Yonda, Yonda Tona number 12. Tenete Chutamji, Saint Chutamji, Nelu Sena Yanda, Saint Nelu Sena Yanda, Tela, Sarja, Tenipa, Mepa Tanguya, Panguya, Yomare, Tela Sursardu Yoya Yomare, Korang Netan, the Yang Tapa, Rela, the Yang Tapa, Tela, Yang Tapa Tana, Yong Tapa Tongre, the number 12, that is so Jibok Tawala Tene, Sumarella. Tene some Tawa Latene, Tatanda Sarahata, Tene Garab Dojila Soba Namchi, Tat Donga, Saja Chimbu Menga, Zoba Chimbu Menga Nami, Ta Sanji Tainla, Sanji Ngo de la Nansum Hirap Katatu, Tatila, Nansum Hirap Katatu, Conjun Te Tekar. Tolzung san la tabizin tangaranzu nomto tol takadu ji song ha mago nomto jegi yore tini ti sem te la te tai ga du tini dein jing uzung ta tini ende ngupo nda dodo nda ndo samba yore besena yo mare nda mepare sena remepare besena mare yepa mai jalwe chong mazi Mepa main konde kanji gesitini yemi ni gentalinde sen korang netan de tatinde ji yorela dein demenjing nguzung talsam ngojong de ein hom tati ngojong de o tati ngala te si nyambar yona yapu yungunduga sambata tinde yungu yore.
So this jewel of awareness is ready for us to see it. It's right there waiting for us to look and to see it. And so what is the method for looking at it? This is as in the next verse, which reads, "Whatever occurs, I thrust the sword of full knowing of cutting through, straight into the mind that suddenly springs up. So I am merely free of identifying it as this or as that. If I nurture the essence of this, would that be it, I wonder?" And so there's the method too, the method to find the jewel that we have. And the method is to develop really strong full knowing or strong prajna or intelligence, to develop this strong intelligence. And how do we do this? Well, there are generally two ways to develop this full knowing. We can do it through inference or we can do it through a direct perception. When we do it through inference, this is as is taught, for example, in the treatises on the middle way, where we view all phenomena as emptiness. And when we see that emptiness, it's not just mere blank emptiness, but there is also the clarity of the nature of the mind. There is the Buddha nature that is present. That's as it is said in the Supreme Continuum by Maitreya. In this there's nothing to dispel nor anything at all to add. By viewing rightness rightly and by seeing rightly liberation. And so when we look at the nature of the mind and we see the way, whether we talk about the nature of all phenomena or whether we talk about the nature of the mind, there's the clarity of that. And there's nothing there that we need to eliminate, nothing that we need to get rid of. Nor is there anything there that we need to, nothing that new that we need to add into it. It's just the way that it is. The way that it is rightness. And so by viewing that rightness rightly and by seeing it rightly, then we are liberated. And so that is primarily taking inference as the path. Then in terms of taking direct perception as the path, there are the instructions of masters such as Saraha or Garab Dorje, the instructions of Mahamudra and of Dzogchen that tell us how to look at the essence of the mind with direct perception, to see it directly, and to, when we look at the nature of the mind, then in this way, then it is as it says here, you thrust the sword of full knowing cutting through straight into the mind that suddenly springs up. So the mind suddenly springs up. It's like something's there and we don't know where it came from, how it came from. And so when we look at it, then we look at it. And when we look at it with this full knowing, then we say, then it's merely free of identifying it as this or as that. And so it's merely, we cannot say it's this, we cannot say it is that. It's not something, it's not nothing. It is as it is said, not something, even the Buddhas cannot see it. Not nothing, it's the basis of samsara and nirvana. So it's not like it's something, it's not nothing. It crosses the extremes of either of those. It is merely free of identifying it as this or that. And so when we... So there are all the thoughts that occur in them, or the way that the mind is the nature of the mind is merely free of identifying it as this or that. If I nurture the essence of this, would that be it, I wonder? And so if this happens, if I meditate upon this, if I rest in meditation on this, would that be it? So it's saying, is this the method?
Tene tatela tene sachi gaon de sena ladawa ta hinje pasong yore la tene lada sena takasi tutub tene netang ten gom ta nyamsu nyon tati norboti ngarang chol tatin de ya de la ladawa se ke yore hinje pase tu kari se ke yore sena tene ti tati trubati chate ke dandang ngarang chung korwalen chombe ke nekapla kanti rindo tin chong guli korwala ne gubi ke dungal number na zobe nar gubi junsin te kanti rindo ti tralu ke tap ti junsin te tak ngarang ke nyom ke te ne kanti rindo tawatela hinje pa sekirela tini tele nani la dawati ta chitang ngarang ke senji nelu la ta na tini ti ngowati hako tate tombo nyamo se ta insa andu mundu sambate tini rimbi saldo do tini tati hinji batela karisunga yore sena zunzing natsu unda ripe rongzal komsam dedu unda ripe bala trumi ripan de machub lupe trusem konara ran sesar reo se tini tati ke ngaranzo la nuwa la tanda kunzub nuwa chunung la kari xaage yore se na tini tsi zunga ke yor je namba xaage yore non zembe sen je namba la xaage yore tini ti namba na tsuba nuwa namba na tsuba xaage yore zug dra tre ro riza la tsuba namba na tsuba xaage yore nda kari ri se na tini ti ke ngarang la yepe ripe norbo ti ke tsalndabo te la tini xaage yore ma to tini xirage tini tenen chakpo ndabo da dodo ndabo xiro yo mare komsom dedu nda ripi bala se na tene komsom ge tanji tin komsom korwa la nene kapka la deji dam tempa tom kapka la dungal dam tempa te tatanda kariri se na dedu namba na tsopo xarge yo are re te yinaya te nengo chimbo xiro yo mare ripi balap tati ripi ke tsalli xari yung ke balap ndabo che per na jansu ke balap la jansu ke balap te yung yo are jansu ke balap te yung yo are te balap te jansu le lo su chirwa yo mare la tini dedu nda ripi balap tini ripa rang ke ngo nda boche mato tela mixal ke tela thakwa nda bota tini tempo nda boche yo mare la tini re te yinaya trumi ke ripa te ngarang le yo are te tiga tanda padul macha pa lus onre teni ta tela trusem konara sesar reo se ta trubi ke semte koran rang sesar rewate ta che in truba rang la teni tela ngarang tani separ rewate trusem konara ta tipa seju ge rewache ge yore te te kal kabu yore ti ngo de hako gu yore trumi ripande te tin trulsung are la te ti ke na ta te trusen te kona rampa se gu ge yore sumi
추숨데 가서 그랑랑 세고래.
고란랑 세고
랑 세고 그래.
추세도 봐 세고 그래.
맞아. 있는데 가서 데다 가서 초빙한데 가서
주미 리반디 마주 블루바
맞으면
다디 추셈 그 답송 그래 봐. 이제 파세 추셈 무키나 파세 바로.
알았어. So in terms of the topics of the outline, basically there are two parts that we're talking about here. The first is the topic 2A as a beginner, how to get directly to meditation. And so getting directly to meditation is one. And then the second one is distinguishing, B, the section B, how we sometimes think that the energy of the awareness we distinguish, which appears in various ways as helpful and harmful. So the first of these topics is getting directly to meditation. The second is distinguishing. So when we say getting directly to meditation, this is just going straight for the meditation, going directly to it, meditating, feeling the experience, and so forth. Then distinguishing, that is looking at what are the experience. We have all these the aspect of confusion that we experience, and so the aspect of samsara. And so, what is the point? That is how does that happen? This is coming to understand how that happens. Why is it? It's coming to understand why is it that we are so afflicted by all of the suffering. And so looking at that is distinguishing. And so it's looking at the nature of the mind. And so first here we had these instructions on getting directly to meditation. These are looking directly at the nature of the mind, coming to know it. And then first we think, that's probably what it is. Would that be it, I wonder? It's probably this. And then as we meditate upon it, it gradually gets stronger and clearer and clearer. Then following that, there are the instructions on distinguishing. So there are and so these instructions are: the perceived and perceiver's variety is the power of awareness. The pleasures and the pains of the three realms are waves in awareness. Unconfused awareness has left us here without protection, and we hope that confused mind might just extinguish itself. And so we have all these appearances that we see. And these, what are these appearances? These are the appearances, the confused appearances of and the confused relative appearances of samsara. And when we look at these, we see that there are the external appearances of that which we perceive, the perceived. Then there's the internal perceiving mind, the perceiver. And so there are all these different things that can appear to us. There's form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and so forth. And so what are these? The variety of this is the power of the awareness. There's nothing that's actually hard, or there's any sort of thing, any substance to any of them. And then the pleasures and the pains of the three realms are waves of awareness. And so here in all of the places that we might be in the world, we sometimes experience pleasures, we sometimes experience pains, but there's no real point to any of these. These are just like waves in awareness. It's like the strength of awareness appearing as waves. It's like waves in the ocean. When you have waves in the ocean, then of course there are waves happening, but the waves in the ocean are not anywhere outside of the ocean. And so in the same way, there are all these appearances that happen, but they're not outside the awareness. There's nothing that is hard and nothing that is stable about any of these. But unconfused awareness has left us unprotected. So there is the unconfused awareness that has us, but we haven't realized it. And so because we haven't realized it, then it has left us here without protection. We experience all these confused appearances of samsara. And we hope that confused mind might just extinguish itself. And so we have a hope that when we look at the confused mind, we hope that, okay, these are just going to go away. If we just deal with the confused appearances, they're just going to extinguish themselves on their own. But if we just look at the confused aspects of mind, then that's not really going to work. That's a little bit difficult. What we really need to do is we need to understand what the essence of it is. And when we look at the nature, know what the essence is, then the confusion extinguishes itself automatically. And so in that way, we have this hope that when we can have the hope that when we look at the nature of the mind, and we see it as it is, then the confused mind themselves will just extinguish themselves.
Tene Tring Hadu Chunti Tesam Shona Samsung La Tene Teji So Tanda Chitang Tating Sang Kapsula Zombu Len La Tene Tanda Panjur Nyamba Tene Tejendo Sakul Mambola Montu Langba Tene Tujondola Tene Neam Mandrawa Tene nature mandawa ta tinde mambo njungiyo tin zambi lan pe chengi to parchi mambo yungiyo rete yungiyo patela ta ngaranso namba sanji bi chu nyamni sinking ngoni tan zamlin dala yapshi kandi ji shogure date sena tini tate mixal ke ta ngaranso yapshi shya del melom yapo dabna Tini senji teni melam yapoji jarna tini te pe tambichuchi demba la teni tan debu yapoji unju rela tini teacher na sani mombo la tini melam na tini nangi yorela tini te la tanda tinani melam te zo kariri se na hyalni sumbi melam se ta zombo jebe melam raboje yena sanji jamdin de rangi hyalni song yapati rela Hyalni sumba melam tiki nani melam yapo, melam ja chenpo, melam sanlap chenpo. Ta tindi indu te la tini te zonje melam te injiki la jay jor. Tini tanda ngaranso loza waki injiki la jor. Injiki la jorwa te yon chitangi injiki la jor yopa mambu yore te yina ya tsiki se na tini pe sanla te tsi truanda po lepa. Tini tsiki se ne dang jab na tini truanda po lepgare truanda po sen ga yendo tro yendo la melam yapo ji jab na tini te la sila chepar ji pento chenpo ji yungi yore la tini zonchi melam rang na ne mori tatambo te
So that's enough for our morning teaching on the Song of the View. Now, also here, these days in the world, it's a time when there are many difficulties. There are difficulties in terms of our prosperities and livelihoods. In many parts of the world, there are wars and conflict. And so there are many problems. There are many different illnesses that happen. And so the many difficulties, problems that happen in the world. And so how is it that we Buddhists, who practice Buddhism, what is it that we can actually do to serve the world? Well, in particular, what we Buddhists can do is we can make good aspiration prayers. And when we keep good aspiration prayers in our mind, then through the truth of the Dharma, it will bring a good result. And so by making aspirations in many different places, then it is very helpful. Now, there are many different types of aspirations, but there are those that were actually spoken by the Buddha, the words of the Buddha, things that the Buddha actually spoke himself. And these are very good aspirations. They're very vast and very profound aspirations that bring a lot of blessings. For example, such as this aspiration for noble, excellent conduct. And so now it's been translated into English. Actually, it has been translated into English several times before, but now our translator here has actually translated into English again, but he's translated it into verses. And so when you translate it into verses, then you can sing it with a melody. And this brings a lot of excitement. If you have a lot of joy in your mind and you're singing it with a beautiful melody, then because you have such excitement and joy in your mind, you can really feel the strength of the power and the blessings of it.
Tene tropong en pombai no anta ye teo tenyurton te ro nye parani devarso mesentrio te ro le paramose tene pe sendale na ya deji tamba yungre mahompala ya tene dunghale tro yungre Tene ta tende song ne penya che par chin ta tende ngarang deva maja na yandina do yuare la tietar do menom tabna pe sila chimbo to pe to chimbo yimbe chen de menom te ta mong pa la song na lu che yogi.
And then towards the end of this, it talks about the benefits of reciting this prayer. It says, someone who recites this prayer for excellent conduct is one who will abandon lower realms, is one who will abandon harmful friends, is one who will see Amitabha soon. They'll gain well what they need, live easily, and in this life they'll be free from suffering. And so here it's talking about how the reciting the prayer, making the aspiration is something that brings us happiness now in this life. It is something that will be helpful for us in the future. And so it's a really wonderful, very beneficial thing to do, to recite this aspiration. And so it says, as I've been explaining, it's as written there in this aspiration. It really has really wonderful benefits to it. And so I hope that you will continue, that you will recite this prayer into the future.
Sure.